Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're connecting from. If you're joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, or Australia, whichever country you're joining me from, I really do appreciate you. Thank you very much for your contributions on my channel. Please continue to contribute. Always go to the comment section, say your own views, express yourself the way you feel it. Whatever be your own contribution, put it down at the comment section. You can criticize if you so desire. Please contribute. I always go to the comment section at all time, and I learn a lot. I must tell you, I learn a lot from the comment section. It has been a source of strength for me each time I read your comment. Thank you very much for your contributions. And remember, we would never get tired, and we will never step back from this very fight. The fight we are fighting is a just cause. We are not hating anybody. We are not talking against anybody. Neither are we talking down on anybody. We are not preaching hate speech. Neither are we calling for war. What we are asking for is the right for every indigenous person in that very contraption called Nigeria to be able to decide their fate. Referendum, that is what we are asking for, and we will continue to ask for that. Referendum remains the only solution to the insecurity in that very contraption called Nigeria. Without referendum, nothing can be achieved. That is why the Biafrans and the Oduduas are speaking up louder than ever. Louder than ever. Wherever you are, if you're a Biafran, do not relent in your effort. It doesn't matter what they do to our supreme leader, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is living in every one of us, and will continue to preach that message. They can't shut him down. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is even speaking much more louder now than before. He is speaking through each and every one of us. That is why we must not be silent. When you come across any video that is coming from the Biafrans or any video that is coming from Odudua, share the video like wildfire. Let the video go to all angles. Whichever platform you have, share the video. If you cannot make your own video, when you come across the video, share this video. Share it to everybody that needs to hear our voice. You never can tell who will come across the video. The message of awakening will continue. The message of awakening will continue now more than ever. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has given us a very great assignment and a very wonderful gift. The gift of knowledge. We are all knowledgeable. There is nothing that is happening in that contraption called Nigeria now that will tell me you do not know the end of it, or the beginning of it, or what is about to happen. We all are aware. That is why we have to open our mouth and continue to speak about the situation of that very contraption called Nigeria. The unity of the Yorubas and the unity of Igbos is very, very important. At this crucial time, it has become compulsory that the Oduduans and the Biafrans must march together, speak in one voice, and that is exactly what is happening. My Odudua brothers are working very hard, speaking up for everybody in that very country called Nigeria, regardless your race, your religion, whatever you belong. We speak up for your defense. The same thing the Biafrans are doing. Whichever tribe you belong into, we speak up for you. We speak up for the unity of the indigenous people of that very country called Nigeria. It is time for the South to unite together. And when we talk about the South, you know that majority of people we have in the South are the Biafrans and the Oduduans. And these two must march together now. Now, not tomorrow, now. If you are from the Odudua land and you have not joined the struggle, this is the time for you to wake up and begin to speak up. If you are a Biafran and you have not yet joined the struggle, it's shame to you. You have to be ashamed of yourself. You have to be ashamed of yourself. If you are a Biafran and you are still sitting on the fence, still talking about one Nigeria, shame to you. A big shame to you because you don't know what you are doing. A big shame to you because you don't know what you're doing. It is time for us to unite together. This is the time for the country to be united together, united in one front. More especially the indigenous people of that country, more especially the southern part of Nigeria, have to unite now or never. And that unity is now. If you don't know, if you listen to the media very well, watch closely how the Fulanis are facing the unity of the southern part of Nigeria. Each time the southern governors came together to issue a communique together, to issue a point, even though the point doesn't hold water, even though the point is not so strong, you see how scared the North are. You see the jittering in the North. You see the way they respond with anger. They respond with all kind of venom. That is to show you that the only solution to what is going on in that very country called Nigeria is the unity of Biafra and Odudua. As soon as the Biafran and Odudua cement their unity completely, the Fulani Janjaweed will never have any food in that very country called Nigeria. And that is what we are looking for. We are looking forward for that unity. That unity will bring the referendum that we are asking for. Then, in that referendum, the Biafra and Odudua will be free. Every indigenous tribe in this very area will have their own nation, their own independent nation to control their own resources. Enough is enough. If you are still thinking you can do this alone, you cannot do it alone as a Biafran. You cannot do it alone as an Oduduan. You cannot do it alone as whichever area you belong to. As long as you are from the southern part of Nigeria, we can do this united. United we stand, but divided we fall. Thank God for the unity that is coming up among the Biafrans and Odudua. The unity is getting stronger and stronger by day, and we have to continue to pray for it. You begin to see things that are happening in Nigeria, you will see more reason why you have to cry for this unity. It is time for us to unite. These people see us as one. It is only the Southerner that he sees himself as different people. They are still the people breaking themselves. We the Southerners, we are the one breaking ourselves into pieces. But the North, they are seeing us as one block. That is why they treat us as one. They treat us as one. But for us, we find it difficult to know that we are one people. Time has come when the South will unite together and begin to speak in one voice, know that they are one. And nobody can divide us. As soon as we come together as one in the South, that will mark the beginning of the freedom of the Southerners. That will mark the beginning of the freedom of Oduduwas and the freedom of the Biafrans. That is why we have to march together. This is not about selfish interest. If you see anybody that is still talking about one Nigeria in the South, he is preaching one Nigeria because of his own selfish interest. Because of his salary, because of his loot, whatever thing he has looted for every country. That is why he's crying for Nigeria. He's not crying for one Nigeria because Nigeria is going to be better tomorrow or next tomorrow. Because from every indication, there is no laid down plan for Nigeria to be a better country in the next 20 years. If you have seen any, put it down at the comment section. I would like to read it and see too. There is no laid down plan in that contraption called Nigeria that Nigeria will be good in the next 100 years. None. If you have seen any, put it down at the comment section. I would like to see it too. This is the time to move on with our lives. We cannot allow those who do not want to grow to press us down and put us into a cupboard. We cannot allow people to subjugate us. This is time for us to take our freedom into our own hand and do what is right. You can see recently in their news, the Janjaweed government of Buhari is mounting out 59.9 billion 59.9 billion to combat poverty in the Northeast. 59.9 billion to combat poverty in the Northeast. Are you telling me that it's only in the North that is poverty? Is it only in the North that is hunger? By the way, where is the money going to come? The money is going to come from the South. They will take the money from the South to go and combat hunger in the North, without including the Southerners, those who have the money. In the South, we have a lot of people who are hungry. They have even succeeded in destroying all the businesses in the southern part of Nigeria. Each time when you were hearing about the burning of market, they burn the market. All the markets where Southerners are trading in the North have been burned in one time or the other. In the Southwest, all the markets where we are trading is being burned in one time or the other. They are burning market from market to the North, trying to impoverish the people and make sure that they do not survive. They have tried by all means to destroy the economy of the southern part of Nigeria to make sure we will not survive. And people are finding life difficult in the southern part of Nigeria as we speak. They have closed the border. We cannot import. We cannot do the normal business we're doing. They shut down everything in them to make sure that economic activity in the south is being suppressed. And yet, somebody who called himself a southerner cannot see it, and he will still calling for one Nigeria. Now, they have mapped out 59.9 billion to combat hunger in the north. What about you, a southerner? What is your own share? How much did they give to you to combat hunger? Are you going to tell me that the southerners are not hungry? You that you call yourself somebody from the south. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter your tribe or religion. So you are not hungry. You don't have a problem. You don't have a problem. The north that we have known from time, they live a kind of life. There's a kind of life they live. They are not interested in even increasing whatever they have. They enjoy the state of life they're living. That poverty life, they enjoy it so much. It doesn't matter how many billion you give them. And that is why their elites will always steal the money and keep to themselves and give them peanuts. They have marked 59.9 billion, and bet you me, this 59.9 billion is not going to any poverty alleviation or any hunger. They are going to use it to equip the insurgency in that very part of the country. The 59.9 billion will be used to buy more ammunition for the bandits and the terrorists. They are never going to use it to better the life of any poor masses in the northern part of Nigeria. And this is absolute truth. The earlier you get this, the better for you. The earlier you get this information, the better for you. For those of you who think it's a joke, it is not a joke. This is a reality playing out before your own very eyes. Reality playing out before your own very eyes, and it is happening every now and again. For the unity of the Oduduwans and Biafra, it is a compulsory thing that must have to happen. And I want you to watch a video from Professor Akintoye on what he had to say about the unity of Odudua and Biafra, for you to know that the time is now. Let us watch Professor Akintoye.
So over to you, Professor Akintoye.
Dedogun has a book, Fatherless People, and there is a small account in it of Zeke returning from America in 1933 with very highly blown ideas of Pan-Africanism, the black man in the world, and so on and so forth. Well, he was vulnerable. He was a poor person, and he wasn't getting the kind of help that he desired. He had applied for jobs to many organizations and many agencies back home in Nigeria, and none of them had given him a job. And he arrived in London on his way back home, and that vulnerability put him in the hands of the colonial authorities. Basically, what happened, the British respected the Yoruba, but they didn't particularly like the kind of black man that the Yoruba were. They didn't like it, because by the time they came, the Yoruba were already fairly highly educated. They had been producing graduates from the last years of the 1850s. And by the time that the British began to come into Yoruba land in the 1880s, 1890s, there were already very many Yoruba graduates in very many areas of life. And when the British finally became the rulers of Nigeria, I'm jumping over a whole lot of things. They didn't fancy the Yoruba at all. They might be friends with the individual Yoruba people, because the educated people for them to be friends with were mostly Yoruba. But they feared that the Yoruba were going to make the profits of colonialism difficult to achieve in Nigeria. So the British didn't particularly like the Yoruba, and thought that they needed to subdue the interests of the influence of the Yoruba people in Nigeria. And according to the account in the book that I have quoted, Fatherless People, Major Peram, who was a scholar of the colonial establishment, got hold of Nnamdi Azikiwe, took him to meetings with British colonial officials from Nigeria who were at the time in London, and finally arranged a meeting between him and a team of people from the colonial office. And what seemed to have happened in those meetings is that the British wanted to construct the Igbo and the Yoruba as enemies of one another, so that they would not be able to collaborate, because these are the two most powerful people in Nigeria. If the Yoruba and Igbo collaborated, the British thought that that would be the end of all the benefits from their colonial endeavor in Nigeria. And so Azikiwe arrived in Nigeria, the man who had left London with very high-sounding ideas of the black race, the black man, and so on, Pan-Africanism and etc. Arrived in Nigeria, not so much dedicated to those ideals anymore, and so on. But as I said, we, the Yoruba and the Igbo, we allowed ourselves to be pitted against each other. I don't want to tell the story. The story I want to tell is the story of change and the future. We are now at a point in the history of the Yoruba and the Igbo nations when a substantial number of the Igbo and Yoruba people now recognize the following things. One, that because we had chosen to allow ourselves to be used against each other, the Yoruba nation and the Igbo nation allowed themselves to be used against each other in Nigeria, both have now ended up in a position that is only better than slavery in Nigeria. They have lost everything. And now they're just fumbling around in the hands of people who are dedicated to an idea that they must own Nigeria, they must rule Nigeria, they must control Nigeria. And they must make sure that the other peoples of Nigeria do not control their own destiny. That's what Ahmadu Bello said 11 days after independence in 1960, on October 12. The South we treat as conquered territory. We must treat the South as conquered territory and not let them ever rule over us and never let them control their own future. I had participated in discussions around Chief Awolowo as one of the young intellectuals from Ife, in which we had very definitively decided that the road forward for either the Yoruba or the Igbo is that the two of them must learn to work together. But nothing had come out of those discussions. In 1984, May, after I was released from detention by the military ruler Buhari, Chief Awolowo invited me to Kenya and we spent a whole day together at his house. And I want you to listen to this, let everybody listen to this. Because it's a story that I need to be telling, to be standing on rooftops in Igbo land and Yoruba land and be shouting. We spend the whole day, Chief Awolowo, usually when we meet, it's about Nigeria, and we spend the whole day talking about the prospects, the difficulties, the plan, and so on and so forth for Nigeria. And then it was time for us to go to dinner about 4:35. And as we stood and went towards the dining table, Chief Awolowo stopped me and held my hand and said, Banji, there is something more I should not forget to tell you. So I stopped and looked at him, and he said, Banji, we Yoruba must find a way to work with Igbo. I said, you and Igbo will work together. It's not a question of must now. You and Igbo, he was now talking as if he was prophesying. He had started by saying you and Igbo must work together. But then he upgraded his talk to something like a prophecy. You and Igbo will work together. It is the only way you can be free in the world. It is the only way we can be free in the world. It is the only way we can really achieve what we deserve in the world. You and Igbo will work together. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm quoting him as much as I can remember. I am not saying it is going to be easy, but I am saying it will be done.
After watching Professor Akintoye, are you still doubting, or are you still having a doubt in your head? Are you still thinking whether it is going to work or not going to work? This is the time now. This is the time. It is the time to speak up from wherever you are. Add your own voice. This is the time for us to unite together and fight this battle. May Chuks to protect those who are fighting for us. We will surely survive. Thank you for watching and remember blessed. Bye-bye. See you again on the next video.